This is my favorite bookshelf speaker, the B&W 685 S1. It's been my favorite speaker because it sounds great, but I will admit to being a bit biased as my own personal history with the speaker fortifies my love for it. See, I bought a floor model pair from a store in Toronto. I sold 2 pairs of Mission speakers to purchase them. At the time of purchase, the 685s had been well received by reviewers in audio publications. Yes, I too am swayed by positive words from others. They were said to be revealing and seemingly sounded like more expensive speakers. I hate that phrase because they don't. They're not the most resolute, they don't dig the deepest, and yet I still love them. I've heard a bunch of different speakers throughout the course of doing this review thing, and while 95% of the speakers that I've heard have been great, I just don't get the same feeling as when I put on the 685s. And it's not because they're better, I think it's just because I'm used to the sound. It's comfortable. It's expected. It's home. I've used them with every amp I've had in-house, both personal and review. They've been used as mains in my 2-channel setup, on my record shelf as part of my DJ setup, on my desk setup as mixdown monitors, in a home theater setup as fronts, but also as rears when paired with my old 683 floor standers, also from B&W. They have served me well, and I'm loyal to them as everything I've played through them has sounded great. B&W has iterated on the 600 series with newer models, and I've been super curious to see what they sounded like. I first got to hear the delightfully smaller sibling, the 607 S3. It turned out to be a better constructed, more refined, tighter, and more coherent speaker. And now, at long last, I have the 606 S3 in for review. Going off the 607 review, I had pretty high expectations as the 606 shares the same tweeter, a similar cabinet construction, but with a larger cabinet and a larger mid-bass driver. I was also a bit concerned, as this is kind of the update to my favorite speaker, and my speaker is over a decade old and it's been used and somewhat abused. This is a newer and more improved speaker. But I also realized that this is more revolution than evolution. Yes, the 600 series has evolved over the years, but this generation is now 4 generations removed from the 685. And in contrast, it feels like a different speaker altogether. Cosmetically, the cabinet is nicer and has a more elegant finish. The mid-bass driver is now a silver continuum cone instead of a yellow woven Kevlar one. The tweeter is now protected by a new grille. The tweeter housing plate is no longer asymmetrical in design. The bass reflex port has been moved to the back of the speaker. The binding posts have a new look and layout. And the grills are squared off and magnetic. That's a lot of change. And it's for the better too. This is a 2-way vented box system. You get a 1-inch titanium dome tweeter and one 6.5-inch continuum cone for the bass and mid-range. Frequency response is 52 Hz to 28 kHz. Sensitivity is 88 dB with an impedance of 8 ohms. Recommended power amplifier is 30 watts to 100 watts into 8 ohms. And they retail for $1,100 US a pair. I use this speaker back to back with my old 685s and A-beat it with the 607 speaker. I paired it with the Cambridge CXA81, the CXN streamer, and the Alva TT turntable atop my DJ shelf. And then with the Marantz Cinema 70, paired with an Apple TV 4K and a home theater setup, with the 606s on their matching stands. The 607s proved to be really sweet, detailed, and focused up top, and that character is retained in the 606s. The big difference, though, is that the overall soundstage is bigger, and that's largely due to a larger cabinet and a larger bass driver. The larger cabinet also allows this speaker to go much louder too, with more output in the upper bass region of the music. The more resolute nature of the speaker is immediately noticeable when I could directly compare it to the 685s. Playing Ascension from Maxwell and old school R&B joint, there's way more detail in the upper end percussive notes, and they're way more refined than they are on the 685s. Like you're able to pick them out way more clearly, and his vocal had way more like texture in it too. It was really cool. Bob Marley, Waiting in Vain. I normally have this song playing to wake up my kids if they've slept in the morning. My subwoofer wasn't working at this time, so it gave me a chance to hear how much low-end output these speakers could muster. And if you're listening in a small to medium-sized room, there's enough there if you don't want to get a subwoofer. But for bass fiends like me, yes, you definitely need a subwoofer if you want to fill in that lower region. And to be honest, the track just sounds better overall if you have a sub. Pairing this with the Marantz Cinema 70, this is a 50-watt 7-channel slimline AV receiver. I had the 606s as left and right, obviously, but then I took the 607s and I split them. I put one 607 up front, dead center, as my center channel, and I took the other as the rear speaker. And then I took my spare, what are they? The Q Acoustics 3020Is, and I use those as my side surrounds, which are also technically kind of behind me anyway on like a console table. But that was my setup. Complete overkill. Watching the creator, this kicked so much ass. The speaker setup put me dead center in the mix. The dialogue was crisp, clear, and very coherent. The effects were just all enveloping, and all the gunshots and the explosions were super impactful. I love this setup. I didn't bother switching out the 685 for the 606s in a theater setup. I mean, the 606s are just so much better than these. I just wanted to enjoy them as much as I could for as long as I have them. What the 606s have on the 685s is just way better transient response, the stop and starting of notes, much better detail, much better texture, especially in the mid-range and the upper frequencies. This is a boon for anyone that loves music. What the team at Bowers & Wilkins have done to elevate the 606 speaker to be so much better than the speaker it once was about 10 years ago is quite remarkable. And I wholly recommend this to anyone that's shopping at this price point and wants a really great speaker. Are they destined to become my new favorite speaker or replace my 685s and become my new favorite speaker? I mean, time will tell. Sadly, for now, they're on their way back, but maybe in the not too distant future, they'll find their way back to me. If you like this video, please consider liking and subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Cheers.